It's late at night. Not early evening, not prime time. The kind of late where the house is quiet, the lights are low, and your brain refuses to shut off. You're lying in bed, phone glowing in your hand, scrolling through home listings even though you already know exactly how this story usually ends. Every house looks acceptable. Nothing exciting, nothing inspiring. White kitchen, builder-grade cabinets, cheap backsplash pretending to be marble. A backyard so small you could mow it in less time than it takes to brew coffee. And yet, $500,000. $500,000. Not for a mansion, not for luxury, not even for a house you love, just for something normal. So you pause. You start running numbers in your head. You think about your salary. You think about your partner's salary, if you have one. You think about the raises you were promised, the raises that never really showed up. And for a moment, a quiet, uncomfortable thought sneaks in. Am I behind? Did I mess something up? Is this what adulthood is supposed to feel like? Because nothing about this feels reasonable. And here's what I want you to understand before we go any further. You're not failing. You're not irresponsible. You're not bad with money. You're watching a system break in real time. And once you actually look at the math, everything starts to make sense. My name is Tony, and today we're going to do something that banks, real estate agents, and housing influencers would much rather you never do. We're not going to talk about who can qualify for a $500,000 home. We're going to talk about who can actually afford one. Not on paper, not technically, not by stretching every dollar and hoping nothing goes wrong, but in real life, without constant stress, without living one emergency away from disaster, without turning your home into a long-term anxiety generator. Because qualifying for a mortgage and being able to live your life after signing it are two completely different calculations. And confusing those two things has ruined more financial lives than almost anything else. Let's start with the uncomfortable reality. In many parts of the United States today, $500,000 is no longer a luxury price. It's the entry point. That number doesn't get you a dream home. It gets you a very ordinary house. 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, about 1,200 to 1,400 square feet. Nothing fancy, nothing impressive. In cities like Austin, Atlanta, Denver, Phoenix, much of Florida, and anywhere within commuting distance of a major metro area, $500,000 is what normal families are expected to pay for normal homes. This has quietly become the new baseline. Now compare that to income. The median household income in the United States is about $84,000 per year. That means we are asking families making $84,000 to buy homes that cost 6 times their annual income. 6 times. If that sounds insane to you, that's a good sign. It means you're still capable of basic financial reasoning. But here's the confusing part. Despite how insane that sounds, everyone keeps telling you that it's possible. The bank says you're approved. The mortgage broker smiles and tells you that you qualify comfortably. The real estate agent says, this is just how the market is now. Your parents bought a house on one income. Some influencer on social media claims they bought multiple properties with no money down. So what's the problem? The problem is that the definition of affordable has been quietly rewritten. Not around quality of life, not around financial safety, not around sustainability, but around how much debt you can technically survive without immediately defaulting. And that difference matters more than almost anything else. Let's talk about where most housing dreams quietly die: the down payment. For decades, the rule was simple and clear: 20% down. On a $500,000 house, that means $100,000 in cash. $100,000. Say it slowly. Now let's compare that to reality. The median American household has about $8,000 in savings. Not investments, not retirement accounts, actual liquid savings. That means most people aren't a little short of the down payment. They're about $92,000 short. And before you say, "I'll just save more," let's do that math honestly. If you earn $84,000 a year and manage to save an aggressive 10% of your gross income, something very few people actually pull off, you're saving about $8,400 per year. At that pace, it would take you more than 11 years to save the down payment. And that's assuming home prices don't continue rising, which they almost certainly will. So what do most people do instead? They lower the down payment. 5%? 10%? It sounds like a solution. It isn't. When you put down less than 20%, you unlock a quiet penalty called private mortgage insurance. PMI is the monthly fee you pay for not being wealthy enough, usually somewhere between $200 and $400 per month, every month, for years. And here's the part almost no one explains clearly. PMI does not protect you, it protects the bank. You're paying extra money every single month for insurance that does absolutely nothing for your life, your stability, or your peace of mind. You begin home ownership already behind, already punished. Now let's talk about the payment everyone focuses on, the mortgage itself. Let's say you somehow scrape together $50,000 for a down payment. That leaves you with a $450,000 loan. At today's interest rates, somewhere around 6 to 7%, your monthly mortgage payment lands around $2,800. On the surface, that doesn't sound catastrophic. And that's exactly why people get trapped, because that number is only the beginning. Here's where reality slowly starts to suffocate people. Property taxes. Depending on where you live, those can range from $4,000 to $8,000 per year. That's roughly $500 per month. Homeowners insurance. Thanks to climate risk, natural disasters, and rising replacement costs, insurance has skyrocketed. Expect another $250 to $350 per month. Maintenance. This is the cost everyone ignores until something breaks. The standard rule of thumb is to budget 1% of the home's value per year for maintenance and repairs. On a $500,000 home, that's $5,000 per year, about $417 per month. And don't forget PMI, another $300. Now let's add it all up. Mortgage, $2,800. Property taxes, $500. Insurance, $300. Maintenance, $417. PMI, $300. Your total monthly housing cost is now around $4,300. And that assumes nothing goes wrong. Something will go wrong. Water heaters fail, air conditioners die, roofs age, HOAs send surprise bills. That $4,300 is the best case scenario. Now let's talk about the math that changes everything. Financial advisors generally recommend spending no more than 28% of your gross income on housing. If $4,300 represents 28%, you need to earn roughly $185,000 per year. Even if we use the bank's much more aggressive rule, allowing up to 43% of your income, you still need about $150,000 annually. Only around 15% of U.S. households earn that much, which means roughly 85% of households cannot comfortably afford a $500,000 home. That is not pessimism. That is arithmetic. At this point, some people push back. But people are still buying houses. Yes, they are. And that's where things get dangerous. Because most buyers today fall into one of three categories: dual high-income households, people with family money, or people stretching themselves so thin that one unexpected event could collapse their entire financial life. Let's look at what that third group actually experiences. And here's what being house poor actually feels like. It feels like checking your bank balance before going to the grocery store. It feels like delaying car repairs because the mortgage comes first. It feels like putting emergencies on credit cards. It feels like lying awake at 2 a.m. doing mental math. You don't enjoy the house. You manage it. You survive it. Now here's the part that almost nobody wants to talk about. Even with all of these problems, the United States is still not the worst housing market in the world. Not even close. Compared to countries like Canada, Australia, the UK, and parts of Europe, we're still on the lower levels of housing unaffordability. Across the US, the average house price to income ratio is around 3.4. In the UK, it's closer to 8.7. In Australia, about 8.4. In Canada, nearly 9.5. If the US moved toward those ratios, home prices could easily double or triple from here. Yes, it can get worse. Much worse. And the scary part? We are already moving in that direction. Jobs are concentrating into fewer cities. Investment is chasing the same markets. People who locked in ultra-low mortgage rates years ago are refusing to sell. They rent out their homes instead. Supply stays low, demand stays high. In the United States, just 31 counties now generate more than 1/3 of the country's economic output. As opportunity concentrates, housing prices follow. People earn money in expensive cities, then use that income to buy homes elsewhere. This pushes prices up in places where local incomes can't compete. We are slowly exporting housing unaffordability across the country. There is no natural ceiling on how bad this can get. The only limit is what people are willing to sacrifice. Space, privacy, financial stability, mental health. In some global cities, families pool savings across multiple generations and live in extremely small spaces just to own something. Not because they want to, because they have to. Which brings us to the most important reframe of all. There is no prize for buying a house you can't afford. No trophy for stress, no medal for being house poor. Real wealth is margin. It's flexibility. It's peace of mind. It's being able to handle life without panic. Sometimes the smartest move isn't stretching further. It's recognizing when a game is rigged and choosing not to play. So don't buy what the bank says you qualify for. Buy what allows you to live without fear. That doesn't make you behind. It makes you rational. And in a housing market this distorted, rational thinking is a superpower.